All right, guys, welcome back to W.D.Y.D. CSP. What do you do as a central sterile processor? All right, you see me process an XI. Now we're going to process an SP. Now, the cleaning process follows the IFU as the XIs. You're going to rinse to remove any pre-treatment, loose bioburdens. You're going to go ahead and prime your ports and soak your instruments. The only difference with the camera is that you have certain steps you have to do when you're soaking for that 30 minutes. And actually, it's a 31-minute soak. So you're going to soak for 24 minutes, and then you're going to go ahead and wipe the distal tip of the device, right? So there's your flush ports prior to soaking. So you want to make sure that you inspect your instrument for any damage prior to soaking. You're going to flush your ports, and then you're going to go ahead and submerge this. I'm sorry, not flush, prime. You're going to prime your ports. Flushing is when you're getting rid of fluids. Priming is you're filling the chamber up with fluids so that there's no air trap and there's continuous contact with the internal lumens of the device as well as the internal lumens. So the IFU has you soak for 24 minutes, and then it has you wipe the lens for 60 seconds. And then after you wipe that lens for 60 seconds, you soak for another 4 minutes and then wipe again for another 60 seconds. After that, you're going to, by my suggestion, is you're going to flush your ports with detergent again, wipe off the exterior of the device, the cord, the connector, all those components of this device you want to wipe down and use a soft bristled brush to get to the hard areas, but never brushing the distal tip glass section of the device. Always be careful with that. You want to make sure that you're brushing the connectors, but never the distal tip or the glass portion of that scope. You want to pay special attention to the gaps and the joints in what's called the elbow and the wrist, as well as the dead spaces and the perforation there. You're going to rinse the device after soaking and brushing. Rinse the device under cool water. Flush the ports with cool water. And again, brush those hard to reach areas to ensure that there was no chemistry left behind or caught. Okay. Also, taking care of that cord as well. Do not ignore the cord. The cord is part of the device and should be cleaned accordingly. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're not damaging the instrumentation. Soak it very well. Make sure you're inspecting for cleanliness. Press those lock buttons to make sure that they're functioning. And just overall, follow the IFU for this specific device. It is very similar to the XI with just a few extra steps there in the process. But it's rinse, it's soak and prime, soak and wash. Then you're going to transfer to cool water and do the flushing. And then the brushing again prior to going into the ultrasonic. So this is the ultrasonic setup here for the PCF in a wave irrigating sonic. You want to make sure that you have your open basket. All four corners should be ported, or one of the ports should be connected in order to give the exact pressure or consistent pressure flowing in this irrigating sonic. All right, so you want to wrap the cord up nice and neat, and you want to put that on the far end because this is where the distal tip is going to lie up against. Okay. One thing to note is that for the Da SP cameras is you ultrasonic one camera at a time. Lay it in the bottom of the basket, and then connect your port adapters, right? And make sure that they feel snug and that the camera is not going to be flying around or moving around in there, causing any damage from the ultrasonic. Okay, always ensure that everything is secure. Some ultrasonics have brackets that you can place the scope on, the camera on, so it doesn't move around or fray around. But if you position it correctly underneath on top of the cords, you should have no issues. All right, and then once completed and clean, we're gonna go ahead and open our scope up. We're gonna open our ultrasonic up. All right, so we have that ultrasonic loaded up. We have selected the cycle, and then we're gonna hit the start button, and the ultrasonic will do its thing. Once it's done out of the ultrasonic, there is a leak test that needs to be performed on this device. Now, I'm not sure why the leak test is done after the cleaning process. It should be done before the cleaning process, but that's something that the manufacturers need to work out. So what you're going to need a leak tester with a special adapter on it. You see that connector right there? All right, that connector is connected onto the control body of the ultrasonic in a specific location, and that is where that location is at on this specific scope. You see that connector right there? That's where the leak tester gets connected to. Now, what you want to do is, first and foremost, is turn on your leak tester to ensure that it's working, right? All right, so you're going to turn it on, hit the on and off button, and then feel for air and block it to see if you change the values there. Okay, as you can see, the values are jumping all over the place from low to high. That means that this leak tester works. Turn off your leak tester, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect our leak tester to the appropriate port here and ensure that it lays flat. Now this thing just slides in and connects. There's no like locks or mechanisms, so just hold it down to keep it in place and make sure it doesn't fall out of place. All right, you're going to turn the device on to pressurize it. You will hear the machine humming, and then it should be in the specific range that is required, in the 100 and something, between 100 and something, or 140 to 180. You'll see like 153, and it should be steady. Okay, once you get to that pressure, you're going to fill your sink up with cool water, no soap in there, just cool plain water, and you're just going to submerge the distal tip all the way to cover up all the mesh areas or the open areas of that scope. Okay, ensure that all the bubbles are taken off the surface of the instrument by agitating the instrument a little bit, and then 30 seconds, guys. That's singing happy birthday 3 times to yourself. Ensure that that device is submerged. You should not see consistent bubbles or any bubbles for that matter. One stray bubble that stays connected onto the instrument, according to the IFU, is okay. But if you see bubbles constantly leaving the surface or exiting the surface of the device, no matter where it's from, it is considered a failure and should be put out for reprocessing. All right. So once the leak test has confirmed to pass, we want to take the device out of the water, turn the unit off until it reaches 0, and then you're going to disconnect the device. This is now ready to go to the prep and pack area, and I'll see you there in a few. All right, guys, as always, stay true to yourselves, keep it 100, continue educating yourself. Till next time, peace.